It's a challenge, as much as it is
Yeah.
mentally as it is physically. I think someone like me that's been an athlete my whole life and wants to give 100% all the time, I'm not able to give 100% to both. And when you're not able to do that, you know that you're not going to be living to 100% your full potential in both. And that's something that I feel. It's a struggle of how much can I pour into one without completely neglecting the other. And it really depends on literally the month and the week and the day of what is being required of me. But I will say, and I say this all the time, I was a Marine before I was a bobsledder. The
Mm.
Marines and my Marine Corps career is absolutely priority. You are a Marine 24/7. That doesn't shut off.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Uniform. Today, I'm on. I have Captain Riley, and how do you pronounce your last name? I swear I'm going to butcher it.
Tejcek.
Tejcek. Okay, well, easy enough. Well, there we go. Captain Riley Tejcek. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. We tried this yesterday, and the internet connection didn't fare out too well because you're overseas. You're deployed right now, and we appreciate you taking some time out. And I know it's dinner time, so we're going to try to make it really quick and just ask you a few questions about your journey and what you're doing right now. And we love to have you on. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, of course. All right, so let's just start a little bit about your story. Like, how did you get into? Well, for one, obviously you're in the Marine Corps, you're a captain, and then kind of where you're journeying into right now.
So my whole journey with the Marine Corps really started in college. I got a Division I softball scholarship to play softball at George Washington University. When I got to George Washington, about 3 weeks on to campus, and within my first year, I met a Marine recruiter, and that's where everything really changed for me. I never thought growing up I ever wanted to be a Marine because honestly, I never knew that was really an option, especially because I was a female. So not seeing other women in uniform didn't really give me um, even the idea that this was something that was possible. So when I met a Marine recruiter, he absolutely did an incredible job selling the Marine Corps to me, and it's been everything and more that he's had told me. And that's where it started. I was 18 years old and made the decision that I wanted to go to officer candidate school. So I went the officer route, but I still was training, and I became involved when I was 18. From there is also where I decided to get introduced to the sport of bobsled without really participating. I was still playing collegiate softball, but that's where I met a bobsledder who also played softball at my university, and that's kind of where that introduction to the love of bobsled began.
Gotcha. We will definitely love to dive into that a little bit more here in just a few minutes. But I want to take a step back and just ask you, obviously, with all military branches, especially the Marine Corps, because they are, they're out there, out on the front lines, and you guys have a different approach to the training and everything that you guys do. How does the training the training and the leadership that you gained in the Marine Corps is it OCS or OTS? I can't remember what you guys call it.
Yeah, OCS, Officer Candidate
OCS.
School.
Okay, I think in the Air Force we called it OTS, but basically the same thing, kind of, but not. So how does the leadership and the teamwork skills that you learned in the Marine Corps, how does that translate over to being on or competing to be on the bobsled team for the Winter Olympics?
It's an amazing transfer. As a Marine, you're taught how to work as a team and leadership principles, right? You're taught how to create and form a plan, how to study, know the area, know the terrain, and then be able to execute that and brief your execution plan. And then when it doesn't work out, have an after action and be able to kind of learn and assess. You have to be quick on your feet. You have to be adaptable. A lot of times you have to remove your emotion from decisions and situations and be able to focus and be really disciplined with your mind and your body. And I've been able to really utilize what the Marine Corps has taught me in that, in quick decision making, rely on your training, and be able to execute and perform when necessary.
Nice.
And in bobsled, I'm traveling 90 miles an hour down these slopes. So when going that fast, similar to the Marine Corps, I have to really rely on my time when I'm able to study the track, just like I'm able to prepare maybe an op order or something like that. But when it's time that I'm on that hill, I have to be reacting and I have to trust my instinct, take chances, and then afterwards, whether it does or does not work out, evaluate how I can do it better and continue to execute again. In addition, it teaches you a lot of grit. It's a really tough, violent sport, and it's not for everybody. You're literally going to get knocked on your face, like actually, and you have to be able to respond to that. And the Marine Corps has taught me resiliency, and I think that's something that I'm really grateful for when I'm competing in bobsled.
Nice. Now you've got quite a bit of background in not partnerships, but in teamwork, I guess, because you yesterday when we tried to do this, we had mentioned something about you had being an athlete prior to joining the Corps and everything, and so I presume that translates over to not just in the Marine Corps but in the bobsledding arena as well, because you have individual and you have team sections. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. So for women, we have one which is called monobob, and two women, and then for the men, they have 2-man, 4-man.
Gotcha. Okay. Now there's a lot of service members. They do so you're obviously not transitioned yet, but there's a lot of members that do transition to whether it's another career field or maybe it's something like what you're doing. You're still serving, but you're trying to take on something else, another task, whether it may not be the Winter Olympics. It might be something else. How do you mentally navigate balancing both of those? Because physically wise, obviously we can get into that in a few minutes. We talked a little bit about yesterday how you really got to fluctuate a couple times a year for both the Marines and the Olympics. But for mental purposes, how do you balance handling both of those?
It's a challenge, as much as it is mentally as it is physically. I think someone like me that's been an athlete my whole life and wants to give 100% all the time, I'm not able to give 100% to both. And when you're not able to do that, you know that you're not going to be living to 100% your full potential in both. And that's something that I feel. It's a struggle of how much can I pour into one without completely neglecting the other. And it really depends on literally the month and the week and the day of what is being required of me. But I will say, and I say this all the time, I was a Marine before I was a bobsledder. The Marines and my Marine Corps career is absolutely priority. You are a Marine 24/7. That doesn't shut off. So that will always come first. So that bucket always needs to be as full as it possibly can. And there's times when my athletic career, even my training and programs and workouts, have to take a back seat to some of the requirements that the Marine Corps is asking of me. Now, I will say I have learned to grow where I'm planted. And what I mean by that is I need to be mentally locked in and present of what's important now based off of where my feet physically are. If I'm in Marine Corps uniform, like I am now, like I am all 100% Marine focused and concentrated. I can't be thinking about bobsled in my training. But when I wake up at 5:30 every morning and I'm able to put on, my gym kit and go train, I need to be focused on my workout, get in, get out, and not be worrying about maybe some of the stuff that's coming up later that day. And then lastly, when I'm on the hill and I'm about to go down 80, 90 miles an hour, I can't be thinking about work and what I have to do following the race, because when I compete, I do actually work remotely still and am very in tune with what's going on back at the home station. So you just really have to be mentally present where you are, not completely compartmentalized, but being able to shut off some of those things and focus on what's in front of you, but making sure my priorities are always in line, that the Marines always come first. But there are times when, hey, I'm about to go down, I might need to silence my phone for a bit to make sure I don't get distracted before I go down the slope.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's a very unique, and I'm glad we touched on that real quick about and I know that we could go down a rabbit hole on that, but I'll save that for another day. But I mean, it was a very good way that you put that, because when you separate those two, there's two distinct things that could potentially play out and not in good favor. When you're in the uniform, it's not like in the Olympics, right? If you're in uniform, people's lives, could be in your hands and the decisions that you make. So it's kind of important. But when you're competing in the sports, it's still important as well, I think, because if you make a mistake going at 90 miles an hour, that could be fatal, right? And so I think, that's a really, what am I trying to say here? That's a really good part of the mental aspect that I want to touch on for a lot of people that might be listening, is to how do you differentiate the two different things? And I think a lot of people do struggle in that area, and sometimes myself as well. But I think one of the things that the military taught us very well was to be dedicated, to be focused, and make sure that your mindset and your mental toughness is there, set and ready. Now, to get on to the physical part that we touched briefly on yesterday, the Olympics, the training for the bobsledding is almost different than from, I don't want to say completely different, but it is different from what the Marine Corps requires for you, the annual PT test. Can you talk a little bit about those two physical requirements?
Yes. So the Marine Corps, being a Marine athlete, a tactical athlete, I like to say, and being an athlete for Team USA, professional athlete, you have to be an athlete. So there's a level of physical fitness that just like is naturally there, right? However, to your point, what we were talking about yesterday is the types of training is vastly different. When I'm in Marine shape, I'm focusing on my physical fitness test, which revolves around a 3-mile run, pull-ups, and a plank, compared to my bobsled testing, which is going to be pushing a 400-pound sled 30 to 40 meters, short, intense sprints with high-level plyometrics and Olympic weightlifting. So you see one is like a short burst with strength and power. The other one's a little bit more body weight strength, endurance, and longevity. And those do not go hand in hand. They clash often. There are Marines that I've met that are extremely strong and do well, but there are also those Marines who are, I'm a gym Marine or I'm a runner. And generally, like, we are split. Everyone knows that officers are the Marines that are just insane runners that will run 16-minute 3 miles and run circles around us all day. But there's also those Marines who is stronger than I'll get out and will go in the gym and be able to deadlift, squat, and in combat, like, be able to carry 3 people out. So they both matter. It's just they don't always go together. So where I really struggle is that also plays a difference on my weight. So when I'm in Marine Corps standards and I'm trying to be under 166 pounds and I'm trying to run 3 miles efficiently and do 12 pull-ups for my age in a 3:45-minute plank, that all revolves around how much weight I'm carrying. So the more weight I have on me, naturally that's going to be more difficult. It's not impossible. It's just heavier. If you ever do pull-ups and then I add a 10-pound plate on there, it's going to be harder. That's how I kind of view it, because in bobsled shape, I'm close to 165, 170, and I have great endurance for short term. I can run sprints all day long, like kind of like a cheetah, but then rest and be able to give 100% again. Then you ask me to do 3 miles, that it's just a different kind of cardio system. It's a different kind of mental capacity. So it is a struggle for me. It's something that every single year I have to go through, and it causes some mental headaches. I'm definitely have like a little depression month where I hate it. And then it's so difficult once I hit those standards to like almost feel like I start over every single year, that I have to rebuild everything that I just lost because I didn't get any off time either. So generally for bobsled, our season is October to March. We have the month of April off, but for me, the month of April is literally making that transition from bobsled shape to Marine shape to be able to run my PFT by May.
Man, well, kudos to you on that. That's a lot of work, it sounds like. And obviously you've been doing it for quite a while. That balancing back and forth, obviously you're still fairly young, so your body will be able to handle all of that. And so I congratulate you on that, and to keep pursuing that for as long as you physically can. I applaud you for that. Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about maybe anybody else who might be another service member, especially women, right? Who may be serving in the Marine Corps, Navy, Army, whatever it might be, Space Force, who are currently serving, but may also want to pursue other things that are higher level personal goals, maybe, athletics, maybe on another higher level, maybe not be Olympics. But what advice would you give to anyone like that?
The first advice that I would give is you can do it. Just simply putting it there. Like, you can do it. Will it be easy? No, but anything that's not difficult isn't worth it, because then you have to work for it. I think that oftentimes people that have these desires will automatically think of a million reasons why they cannot do these things. I think we're getting better, but especially as women, we will make excuses as to, oh, I can't, my job won't support me, I have to be home, I have to do this. While those things are very valid, if you have that true desire, like, you will have time. And for anyone who tells me ever that they don't have time to do something, pull out your iPhone, look at your screen time, and tell me how much time you spend on your phone and then tell me that you don't have time. I've heard it best this way. It's not that you don't have time, it's that it's not a priority, because you have the time in the day. So first and foremost, know that it's possible. Does that mean that it's going to have sacrifices? Absolutely. I've made more sacrifices than sometimes I'm proud of, but it's a give and a take. But again, straightforward answer, like, you can do it. It is possible. And I believe in you, but you have to believe in yourself. And in order to do this, you need to have really good time management, time skills, be able to effectively communicate, and have a really strong group of people around you that'll be able to lift you up in the times when you have self-doubt or it gets difficult, because it will be.
Yeah, for sure. Which actually leads into the next question. Now that you're obviously still serving and you're competing as well, how has the support from your fellow Marines and the entire Corps itself, how have they influenced you along this journey? And have they been, has the entire military organization, have they been supportive? How's that played out?
For the most part, I've had an overwhelming amount of positive support. I think my goal is not just to do well for myself, it's to do well for the Marine Corps. I love the Marine Corps. I love representing and wearing this cloth. I love the Marines, and there's nothing more that I want than to bring something positive to each and every one of them, to give them something that's exciting and maybe something that they're proud of. I've had a lot of leaders that have stood behind me and supported me and are helping me get to where I need to be, and making me feel welcomed in the commands, but also supported in going and doing some outreach with competition and stuff such as that. I think anytime anyone does anything, there's going to be some people that aren't particularly fond of what you do. I think there absolutely are people out there that don't think that I should be able to be active duty and compete and do this, which I think is just really unfortunate, because I don't think we should ever limit ourselves in what we are and are not able to do. But overall, I'm so extremely blessed for the Marine Corps and how amazing that they've been, and the leaders that have, invested in me and continue to believe in me and support me in this, because truly from the bottom of my heart, it's not about me. It's about making this path for other people to not only join the Marine Corps and do something that they've always wanted to do, but to do additional things while they're in the Marine Corps to make themselves better people as a whole.
No, that's really great. That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, you're always going to have those naysayers. You're always going to have those people that are just going to, trash talk, maybe not be the right word, or it might be. But, those are the ones that I like to call keyboard warriors. It's maybe from the marketing perspective, it's a little bit different, obviously, in the military, but you're always going to have those people that are just going to, shoot you down for whatever reason. I mean, you could have, you could find a cure for cancer and people are still going to find a reason to complain about it, but it is what it is. And it's good that you got a huge support team, especially military is unique because there is such a bond in that respect. Being that you are a woman who is essentially, quote unquote, maybe literally or figuratively breaking barriers in both the military world and in elite sports, the representation that you have both for the United States in the military and in the Olympics, what does that mean to you, and how do you use that to inspire others? Because we know that I believe that there's a silent majority who are really looking up to people like you. They may not come out and reach out to you. They may not be, acknowledging you, but I believe that there's a lot of people that are looking up to you behind the scenes for what you're doing, just because you are in the military, a captain, competing and training to be not just in the bobsled team, but for the U.S. Winter Olympics. What does that mean for you? Big question.
It's about them. It means everything, because that's why I'm doing it. It's not so my name, Riley Tejcek, can be in history books. It's so that there's a path so other people can pursue this. And now that barrier has been broken, so more people can do it. Honestly, I think that there's so much talent that we have. There's so many incredible women that I've met that just need that kind of push to see someone else do it, to give them that final validation that's like, if she can do it, I can do it too, I think. Or, hey, Riley, how did you do this? And I'm able to answer and help pull them along that process, so we're not starting over from zero every single time. There's no need to reinvent the wheel here. So what that means to me is exactly what I feel like my purpose is as a strong Christian. I want nothing more than to like inspire people and use a platform that I've been given to honor and glorify God and to make this world a better place and to show what is possible when you believe in God and when He opens up doors and opportunities and unleashing people's potential. That's honestly one of my favorite things is when I see that spark light up in someone else. And I'll be the first to say, like, I am not the best athlete in the world. I'm not the greatest Marine ever. But if I can do it, what's your excuse on why you can't? And that's kind of my vision, that asking people, like, really ask yourself, why can't you do it? Like, if I'm able to do it, like, I truly believe that you can. And I hope there are people out there that maybe see this or hear about me in a bit and they need to remember the story of, wow, like, you can be a female and enter into a male dominated job. You can be a female and pursue multiple career paths at the same time. You can be a female and pursue athletics. This.
Gotcha. Okay. Looks like we're starting to lose a little bit of connection. I had a lot more questions, but I want to cut this short so I don't lose you again. Maybe this is something we continue in a future episode, but just real quick so that we're not going to lose the connection like we did yesterday. For anybody who wants to support you along this journey, I know you got some things going on and there's some things that you're doing to raise some money. How can we support you on your journey and to make sure that you make it to the Olympics and represent the United States?
So there are 6 of us total pilots that are women competing for Team USA. The 5 other women are some of the most talented women I've ever met in my life. Truly, it's an honor to compete alongside of them. But of the make it to the games, and that's the hard reality. So I'm going to give it absolutely everything I have. I'm going to keep training and working hard, but by no means is it a guarantee for me. However, there are ways to support me. The first one is just following along. Follow on social media at Riley.Tejcek on Instagram, or following even our bobsled page and just trying to bring more intention to what we're doing as a team as a whole. The second thing, if I could ask, is for prayer. Just pray that I'm able to stay healthy and my team and I are able to compete for the full travel. We get to locations safely and we're able to honestly just do God's work and what He's asking of us while we're in this position. And then lastly, if anyone wants to help financially, because we are majority of the time self-funded, there's some fundraisers and stuff that all of us do. I know I have some links and stuff that maybe we could put on the show note and stuff like that. But yeah, the easiest thing and the freest thing to do that I always ask people, first and foremost, if you can, just pray. Second thing, and with that is like, you can just follow along and that makes a big difference. And if you really want to help financially, we will never say no.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And there was a part that cut out, and I want to just reiterate here because the internet connection was bad, but you had mentioned that there were 6 of you that are going, but only 3 of you get to make it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that part got cut out. So I just want to make sure that it was clear for anybody listening. Now, the last part, just real quick, to support you financially, we'll put some links on here. We're going to put all this information, we're going to have some information across the bottom of the screen. We're going to put all the show notes in the description of wherever this is going to get posted. I can connect with you afterwards. You can send me those links directly. But one last thing is you also are doing challenge coins, and obviously for the military, we love our challenge coins. I've got a whole, display of them, as I'm sure you do as well. But that's something else that you're going to offer, or that you are offering, right, to fundraise?
Yes. So that was my kind of creative way. I never like asking for money, and just like in the military, we love challenge coins, and people sell challenge coins all the time for ball fundraisers or stuff such as this. So I was able to get with a good friend of mine in Quantico through his shop, and we made challenge coins. On one side, it's me as a bobsledder, and the other side is me as a Marine. So that's my primary fundraiser to be able to continue to compete and travel. And stuff such as this. It's just been a blessing, and it's just a little fun token that you can have. And everyone in the military, we love our coin collections.
We do. I'll have to take a look at those. I'll have to get one of those. Awesome. Well, Thank you, Captain. We are so honored to have you on today and talk to us about your journey and everything that you're going through right now in life. You're obviously over there in a combat zone. We're praying for your safety, you and your team, and everyone else who's over there with all the chaos and everything that's going on right now. You guys just be safe, watch your six, and we appreciate you guys, what you're doing over there. And thank you again so much for hopping on, taking some time out of the day. I know it is dinner time. You cannot wait to get to that chow hall. I guess it's better than an MRE, right?
But, way better. It's hot. It's hot food. It's fresh hot food.
Yeah. There you go. Well, it might be hot. I don't know about fresh, but it's hot. But whatever. We'll go down. We'll leave that for another story. But anyway, that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Appreciate it.